Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. This is Cyrus coming at you with a new video. I know it's been a few days since I had any videos up and a little bit bogged down with my work to be able to make money and sustain myself part of my life. Some projects I've had to finish, stuff like that. Trying to get my book sales back up, not just for like my Afterlife books, but I actually sell a lot of cookbooks and dealing with the stresses of basically operating a business. So that's what I've been busy doing, but I'm back on the YouTube wagon again. And tonight we're talking about, is the astral body an illusion or a real body? Sometimes I get these questions or thoughts or ideas from the different groups and forums about astral projection, life after death. I hear what people are asking questions about, and then that will inspire a video about the subject. Again, you are watching Afterlife Topics, where we talk about this kind of complex, crazy, supernatural stuff. If you like this kind of thing, and there's certainly a lot of people out there who don't, but if you're somebody who does, I'd ask you to please hit the subscribe button to help keep this channel in operation. I definitely need some help, some assistance with that. It's the big red button down below. You can hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share the video if you like it. That tells YouTube that my channel is relevant and prevents them from basically burying this channel into the YouTube abyss of death. So any help with that is appreciated. To continue, so is the astral body a real body or is it an illusionary body? And this is one of these kind of loaded questions that come up sometimes. So to recap, the astral body is basically the phenomenon of when somebody is having an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience, and they find themselves in an Earth-like environment, and they look down, they see they have hands, they basically have the same body that they were in previously. How can that be? Unless this body literally copies itself over to that side. So the astral body is that, as some would call, etheric double of the body we're in right now, and it's been reported and spoken about for a very long time. So I'm going to turn my internet off because I have a feeling I'm going to start getting bombarded by Facebook messages. It always happens whenever I'm doing a videos. I start getting messages, and I either have to reshoot or you guys get to suffer through hearing the Facebook like message sound go off, and then you think it's coming from your computer, but it's coming from my computer, and everyone's unhappy. Anyway, so many ancient traditions have spoken about these other bodies. So we're looking into ancient Kundalini writing. I think this is a Tibetan. They talk about the physical body, the etheric body, the astral body, the mental body, the spiritual body, the cosmic body, the nirvanic body. So I actually find this material to be highly convoluted. Not saying there isn't truth behind it, but I tend to base what I know off kind of my own experiences and kind of rational discrimination based on what people and entities have said about these topics. So you appear on that side, you're in basically a copy of your own body. Rules are different, you can change it if you want. You can teleport around, you can communicate mentally, all this fun stuff that seems to happen in these higher density realms of existence. But is it a real body or is it just an illusion? So there's one school of thought that says the only reason that you're even in a body is because you identify yourself as having a body. So this creates a facade of a physical vessel in a kind of subjective dreamlike world where there shouldn't be physical vessels at all. So this is in my opinion, I'm going to chalk this up to one of those half-truths. And you know what they say about half-truths? A half-truth taken in earnest can be more damaging than a lie. And that's a quote by me. But I think I might have heard a variation of that said by somebody somewhere once. I think it applies here. So on one hand, if you didn't identify yourself with the body or the form you're in right now, I think it's unlikely that you're going to have an astral form like the one you're in now on that side. So because the mind does create stuff. So if you don't identify as the thing that you're supposed to be, then you're not going to look like that thing. So in that sense, yes, the astral body comes into existence because of our self-identification with that body, but it's also not that simple. And this also doesn't mean that the astral body is useless, or you go into the East religious rabbit hole and they start saying, oh, well, we better not identify ourselves as a body because this is lower level thinking, and we need to become bodiless, formless balls of light. And then that's one path which people go on, but then they find out when they're a bodiless, formless orb of light, they can't really interact or have experiences in the astral dimension, because the astral dimension is designed for use by bodies, just like this world is here. So if you're an orb of light, you can't open doors and engage in activities with people on that side. You can't work jobs, you can't explore, you can't do the things that you could do if you were in a body. So the astral dimension, just like this world, necessitates some kind of a body to function. Even if the astral body is created by the mind, as we know, things that are created by the mind on that side are essentially physical and real objects. So just because something is created mentally doesn't mean it doesn't have subatomic structure and isn't solid, it isn't real. Basically, when we conjure, when we create things, it pulls it out of the kind of akashic database of stuff and makes it into a real thing. So the body you have, technically, when you die and you're on the astral side, is actually the same body you're in right now. And in this case, I guess all these ancient Tibetans and Hindu yogi masters may have been incorrect, if you ask me, because they kind of see things in a very linear way, that different bodies develop based on different mental states. Your etheric body, astral body, mental body. What else? A lot of this is based on like Kundalini meditation, the spiritual body. So these different states of consciousness create different bodies. I just don't know if I buy that completely. What seems to happen is that you've created a body for yourself, and it is like everything else created akashically is a solid, physical, tangible thing, which is basically a clone of the body you're in now. So this is why we hear about people crossing over and they still have a few of the health issues they had on this side until they go and get healed, until they learn the new rules, until they learn that they can change and operate on this higher dimensional frequency. But right off the bat, it's like it's a cosmic copy-paste job. Okay, so the second reason I would argue the astral body is still a real body is I've heard sporadic reports of out-of-body explorers injuring their astral body and then having a corresponding pain when they wake up. So they get into a fight, an astral fist fight in an astral bar, which sounds ridiculous, but these types of things happen when you're an out-of-body explorer. And somebody smashes a beer bottle on your arm, and then you wake up and like for a day you have like this throbbing pain in your arm, because the astral body, the higher dimensional body that's been linked to the body you're in now, are actually very much interwoven and connected to each other, and they can affect each other. I've also heard stories about people exposed to intense types of chemicals or injuries or things that happened to them on this side that resulted in their physical death, and then this really messing up their astral body on the other side. Now, I really don't look. I'm not here to downplay like medical treatments. I don't advocate alternative treatments, and because that's somebody's choice to make. I can talk about my personal opinion about this sometime, but this is not. This is not a channel to espouse those ideas, because there's very good arguments on both sides of that spectrum. But I will say something I have heard was from one case in particular where somebody underwent intensive chemotherapy from cancer treatment, and this damaged the astral body significantly and required healing once they crossed over. So this again demonstrates the kind of solidarity that still exists, carrying itself off to the astral side. So I'm not saying that's a reason to not to have chemotherapy done, but I am saying that this is something I heard about, and maybe something to to think about, metaphysically speaking. What else? I've also heard about the phenomenon of when there's a so-called second death. So when you do graduate to a different body, so let's say the astral body to the mental body, as East religious texts would put it. In this case, there is a physical change from the astral body into like a more celestial or light body, or we hear about rainbow bodies. Like this is like moving up into like a higher dimensional spectrum. And I hear about this happening as well. And when people do that, like they go into like a whole different realm that accommodates that type of body. And in that realm, like physical 3D body or an astral body wouldn't be compatible. So you have to get into a more energetic-based body to be able to inhabit certain types of realms that require that. So in essence, the realm you're in determines the type of body that you're in. Certain realms require certain other types of bodies. So this does not mean that the astral body is just this illusion that's been created to, as a result of being attached to your body. So it's this kind of accidental, dreamlike, wishy-washy thing. As a final note, I will say that this may apply to the phenomenon of dream bodies, which could be interpreted in the ancient texts as the etheric body. So in this case, the Bhawa Sharir, the Bhawa Sharir, the etheric body, develops. These 7 years are of emotional growth of the individual. Sexual maturity, which is the most intense form of emotion, is reached at the age of 14. Is sexuality the most intense emotion? I really don't. There's just so much stuff in these old texts. I don't know how I feel about it. Some people stagnate at this stage. The physical bodies grow, but they are stuck with the first two. So basically, in these texts, they argue that emotional changes determine the body. I don't know how I feel about that. I think that really is the etheric body we could interpret as a undeveloped sort of primordial body that we may temporarily be in sometimes, or we could also call it a dream body. So I think a so-called dream body could actually be what people say when they refer to a body just existing as a result of certain attached beliefs. You identify yourself as a body, so it creates this temporary illusionary thing, because dream states are very much illusionary states of existence. So a dream state is subjective. It's in a subjective world. You have full mental control over a dream state, a lucid dream state. A lucid dream state is not astral projection. A lucid dream state is not a near-death experience. Ignore any author who conflates those or tries to put a materialistic, skeptical position with out-of-body experiences by arguing it's all dreams. There's some authors who do that, and they teach lucid dreaming at the expense of astral projection and then say they are one and the same. This is disinformation. This is completely false. The dream state is not the same. The dream state is quite a subjective experience. It's not the same as being in your astral body in a real environment with real other souls. So it's very valuable not to confuse those two when navigating this complex world. That's it for this video. If you like this stuff, you can support the work I do. You can check out books like Understanding Life After Death, The Afterlife, and Beyond. And those books are on Amazon. For Kindle, they're just a couple bucks each, and you can find them on the description down below. If you click on Show More, they will come up. You can get involved in classes. So for patrons of the channel who subscribe, we have classes twice a week that are really in depth. You can get in touch with me about that if you want. And of course, the Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics Facebook group. Big discussions happening there. So thanks for supporting the work. Thanks for being interested in these types of subjects. Hopefully this was of value to you. And I will see you on the next video in a few minutes.